Today we will discuss arrays. Till now we have seen fundamental data types. What kind of data types we have seen? The fundamental data types that I'm talking about are character, integer, float, double. See, so these are the fundamental data types that we have seen till now. Now these data types are obviously very useful for representing data. Like if you want to represent character data or strings, you can represent them using character. For representing integer data, you use the data type int. Similarly, for decimal numbers, you use the data types float and double. But what is the constraint? The constraint is that at any point of time the variables of these data types can store only one value at a given time. Say for example, I say int num. So this variable num at any given point of time can hold only a single value, right? A number can either be 5 or it can either be 10 or it can be 7. So basically any variable which is of these data types can hold only a single value at a given point of time. So this is the constraint. Now say for example I want to store the numbers of all these students in my class. Say for example I want to store the marks of all the students of subject chemistry. Now chemistry is one subject in my class, and for all the students I want to store the marks obtained in the subject chemistry. But using this basic data type integer, I can store the marks of only one student at any given point of time, right? So if this marks is a variable, so this marks variable which is of integer data type can hold the marks of only one student at any given point of time. Now I cannot make this variable hold the marks of all the students in my class. Say for example, I have 40 students in my class. So at any point of time, if I want to store the marks for chemistry of all the 40 students, this variable cannot store it, because the limitation of this variable is that it can store only one value at any given point of time. Hence it can store the marks of only one student at any given point of time. Now what if I want to store the marks of all the students, all the 40 students in chemistry? So for that, what I need to do is that what I'm doing, I want to handle a large volume of data, right? So I want to read a large volume of data, I want to process a large volume of data, and I want to print or output a large volume of data. I'm not talking about a single data, I'm talking a large volume of data. Like I said, marks of 40 students in chemistry, right? So in order to process such large amounts of data, we need a data type that would facilitate doing this, that would facilitate the storage of large amount of data, as well as accessing and manipulating the data items or the large amount of data. Now to support this or to help with this, C supports by providing a derived data type. C supports a derived data type which is known as array, which is basically used for such kind of applications wherein we want to handle large amounts of data. So this is where an array comes into place, right? Now the another property of an array is that it is a fixed size, fixed sized collection of elements, right? There is a fixed size which you define at the time of declaration of an array, and it will hold elements of that fixed size. The size of the array cannot vary. Once you have declared the size of an array, it will remain same, hence fixed size. And collection, and then it is a fixed sized collection of elements of same data type, right? So all the elements in an array will belong to the same data type. If it is marks, you know marks is an integer. So if it is an array for marks, it will store all the integer values or all the marks of similar data type. If it is an array for storing character values, it will store only character values and nothing else. If it is a float array, it will store only floating type values and no other values. So basically, I can say collection of elements of same data type, right? Now, some examples where we can use arrays or where we need to use arrays, they are like if you want to store the list of temperature recorded in every hour, right? You want to record the temperature on an hourly basis. So how will the weather forecast department record that? Using an array. Because then, say for example, you have a large organization wherein you want to maintain the records of all the employees. So again, for that you need an array. Right? Then where else? Suppose there is a store, there's a grocery store or some other store, and for that store you want to maintain the record of the list of products which are available in that store. Also their cost, the cost of the respective products. So there you will be using array. Say for example, you want to maintain a record of the score of students of a class, like I gave you an example about the marks of 40 students. So score of students of a class, for that you need an array. Then say for example, a particular business wants to store the list of its customer and their phone numbers. For that you need an array. So these and various such examples where you need to maintain a record of multiple data values or large volumes of data. So for that you use arrays. Now basically you can categorize an array as a data structure. That is, you can say that an array is a data structure. Why is it a data structure? Because it provides you with a convenient structure for storing data. Yes. Now you have found a convenient way or a convenient structure for storing the data. All the elements of similar type can be stored together at one place. So it provides you with a convenient structure for storing data. Hence it is categorized as a data structure in C. So now let's see how many types of arrays we can have in C programming. Basically, there are three types of arrays that we can have. The most basic one being the one dimensional array. Then we have two dimensional array, and then we have multi dimensional arrays, right? So the three types of arrays that we can have are one dimensional array, wherein you just have one dimension, two dimensional array wherein you have two dimensions, and multi-dimensional array wherein you can have multiple dimensions. Now all these three arrays we will discuss in detail, but before that we will just but for today we will discuss only the one dimensional array. In this video we will only discuss the one dimensional array. So let's begin with the most basic one, that is the one dimensional array. Okay. So basically, when you have list of items, say for example the list of salaries of an employee, okay, list of items which can be anything. Obviously these list of items have to be of similar data type. I cannot group the names of employees and the salaries of employees into a single array. Mind it. As I told you, array is a sequenced collection of similar data types. So the names of employees obviously would be of the data type char, and the salary of the employees would be of the data type float. So though an array is a list of items but of similar data types, so the name of all the employees and the salary of all the employees cannot be represented using a single array. No, this is completely wrong and impossible. So since name is of character data type and salary is of float data type, so they cannot be represented using a single array, right? So for name I have to use a separate array, say array 1, to represent the name, to store the list of names of all the employees of an organization. Similarly for salary I have to make a separate array, say array 2, for storing the list of salaries of all the employees of an organization, right? Now these list of items are basically given one variable name. So one variable name, say for example name, would be representing the names of all the employees of an organization. Similarly, one variable name, that is salary, would be representing the salary of all the employees of an organization, right? And there would be a single subscript. Subscript is this thing which is representing the element. This subscript is representing the element of an array. So this is called the subscript. So we have basically a single subscript. Let's make it more clear with an example. Say for example, I want to store the names of 20 employees of an organization. There are 20 employees in an organization. To store their names in an array, I need to give a proper name to that array. So for example, if name is the array, and what is the size of the array? Size represents the total number of elements that an array can store. So here, how many elements do I want to store in this array? 20, because I want to store the records of 20 employees. So that means the size is given here. So this is known as the subscript. This is known as the subscript. So basically this variable name represents the name of the array, and this subscript represents the size of the array. So such situations where in an array we are having a single subscript or only one subscript, such a variable of single subscripted variables, such an array of single subscripted variables is known as a one-dimensional array. So when I say name 20, this is an example of a one-dimensional array. When I say salary 20, this is an example of a one-dimensional array, right? Now the subscript in an array basically begins with 0. The counting for a subscript in an array begins with 0, right? So say for example, if I have an array name 20, so how many elements are there? 20. But when I count them, I start counting them from 0. So it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3 till 19. So the counting or the indexing in an array always starts from 0. So this is one subscript of an array, another subscript, and like this. So this represents the 0th element of the array. This represents the first element of the array. This represents the second element of the array. And the last element would be represented as the 19th element of the array. So basically I can say name I, where I can be any value ranging from 0 to 19. So basically, sorry, I can write it, I would write it like this, name I. So name I basically refers to the ith element of array. It refers to the ith element of array, and the value of I can be anything ranging from 0, 1, 2, 3, 19. So it can be name 0, that would represent the 0th element of the array. It could be name 1, that would represent the first element of the array, and so on till the 19th element. Right. So when I say for example name 5. So name 5 can be represented, basically means it starts from name 0, name 2 and name 3 till name 4. This is how you represent the elements of an array. Right? So now for example, if I want to represent a set of 5 numbers, so if I am talking about numbers, it will be of data type integer. Obviously an array has to be given a data type. Then since I want to represent numbers, so obviously a valid name for the variable would be number. Now how many numbers do I want to represent? I want to represent 5 numbers. So this would be the size of the array. So basically this is the data type of the array. This is the name of the array. And this is the size of the array, right? And this is known as declaration of an array or array declaration. You are declaring an array just like you declare any other variable. You declare an array. So what are you declaring here? That we are having an array by the name number, whose data type is integer and whose size is 5. That means at most it can store 5 elements in it, right? So the moment I declare an array by the name number having integer data type and 5 the maximum size, so the compiler automatically reserves 5 memory locations or 5 storage locations within the memory for this particular array. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many storage locations? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The moment I declared this array, the compiler automatically reserves a storage space for 5 elements in the array. So this would be represented as number 0. This location would be for number 0. This location would be for number 1. That is this location would be for number 2. And this location would be for number 4 and number 3, and finally for number 4. Or in other words, this memory location is for the 0th element of the array, this memory location is for the first element of the array, this memory location is for the second element of the array, then for the third element, and finally for the fourth element, right? Now if you want to assign values, this is the declaration part. This is how you declare an array. Now you must also want to assign some values to these array. So how do you assign value to an array? Once you have declared an array, for example, you write int number 5. After that, when you assign the value to this array, value to the data elements of this array, you would do like this. Number 0 equals to 35. Similarly, number 1 equals to 40. Then number 2 equals to 20. Number 3 equals to 57. And number 4 is equals to 19. So this is how you assign the values to an array. So when I have assigned the values to an array, so the memory locations that have been reserved for this array would be given to these elements or these values like this. So this is how these values are residing inside the storage locations. 35, which is the 0th element at the top, then the first element, then the second element, then the third element, and then the 19th element. This is what I said, number 0. That means for the 0th element. Then for the first element, then for the second element, then for the third element, then for the fourth element. So this element, this 0th element or the first element or the second or the third or the fourth element is known as the subscript of an array or an individual, and this subscript is used to identify the individual elements of an array. So number 0 represents the number 35, number 1 represents the number 40. So 0 is a subscript, 1 is a subscript, 2 is a subscript of the array, 3 and 4 respectively, and these are used to identify the individual elements of an array. Now these arrays can be used in program just like you use any other variables, right? So just like you would say sum equals to a plus b for a simple variable. Similarly, for an array, you can say sum equals to number 0 plus b. You just have to be careful about the fact that you have to mention the subscript. That means which element of the array you are talking of. You cannot take an array as a whole. You have to mention which element of the array you want to add with b. So you have to mention the subscript while using the arrays. Rest everything is same. Alright. So Basically, we have seen the declaration of one-dimensional arrays. Now, in case of integers or floating values, declaration is simple. Float height is used to represent the height of some students, 50 students, the height of those 50 students. Similarly, if you want to find out the numbers of some 10 students, you declare it using int number 10. Same is for characters, but with a little difference. Now see, we'll see what difference is that. Say for example, I have declared a character array, char, name and 10, right? And then I assign the value to name as well done. Well done, with a space between well and done. Now always remember, whenever you are using strings, this is a string, that means a collection of characters. So whenever you are using a string, it has to be represented using double inverted commas, right? So name is equals to well done. Now the moment I have declared an array named as name 10, obviously what the compiler does, it reserves a storage location for 10 elements inside the memory. So the first element, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth and ninth. So total 10 elements, a space for 10 elements is reserved here. So name 0, this location is for the 0th element of the name array, then this for the first element, then for the second element, then for the third element, then for the fourth element, then for the fifth element, the sixth element, the seventh element, the eighth element, the ninth element and one more element, the 10th element. So in total, storage space for 10 elements have been reserved the moment I declare char name 10. Now you may ask, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 8 elements in this array. Then why are we reserving a space for 10 elements? This is because this space would also be counted as an element, right? This space is also counted as an element of the array. So the 0th subscript or the 0th element is W. Then the first one is E. L, L. Now one space for this, one storage location for this space also, and mind it, a single element or a single character is always represented using a single inverted comma. Where a string is represented using double inverted commas, the single character is represented using single inverted commas. So space is also treated as a character here, so it is represented like this using single inverted commas. Then D, then O, then N, then E. Okay, we will not have the 10th element here since the index is starting from 9th. So one element less the actual size, because the index always starts from 0, so it is always one element less than the actual size. So 0 till 9. Now again you may say, okay, one space is reserved was for the blank space, but then why this extra space after E? There is no other element after E. This is because after each string, after the string finishes, whenever a compiler sees a character string, it terminates it with an additional null character which is represented like this. So this is the null character for which this additional space has been represented. This is the null character which I am talking about this. So whenever the compiler sees a character string, it automatically terminates with an additional null character. So to us it may to us it may appear like this, well, space done, but the compiler sees it like this. The compiler sees it like this. That is, name equals to well space, this I'm highlighting with a red pen, but actually there's nothing over here. So this is space, then DONE, done, and then finally a null character at the end to terminate the character string, and then. So this is how the compiler sees it. So that is why it reserves an extra space for the null character. So that's how it becomes a total of 10 characters. So this is how you declare values, declare an array, and you initialize an array, and you reserve, and this is how the compiler reserves storage locations for arrays in C.